Good afternoon, everybody, or if you're online, good morning or good evening. So welcome to relevant stakeholders who have entered the room. So we're now moving on to the consideration of agenda item 6, a report of the meeting. We'll consider our report summarising the main outcomes of this meeting. I would like to recall that in advance of our discussion, the Secretariat has circulated a short draft report on this item. As such, I would like to invite comments from the IGWG on the report, paragraph by paragraph. Let us begin with paragraph 1. So paragraph 1 is a very factual statement of the dates of the meeting and the members of the Bureau, so I assume that everybody is content with that. I will check, and then with no objections, we will green it now, please. We now move to paragraph 2. Paragraph 2 is a summary of the Director General, Dr. Tedros, who will be with us very shortly in his opening remarks. Just a factual statement of what he said, and of course the references to the Ebola outbreak in DRC and to hantavirus, for example. In seeing no objections to paragraph 2, we will green that. We now move to paragraph 3, which is a reference to the adoption of the agenda and the dropping of the item on relevant stakeholders, as no proposals were received under that item. And then there was a change in the programme of work with regards to the removal of the Saturday 11th of July session. So once again, I will check that there are no comments on that paragraph, in which case we can green it. Paragraph 4, we have going through the agenda there and very factual statements about under which items relevant stakeholders were present or webcast. So once again, I'll let everybody read paragraph 4. And if I see no objection, we can therefore green it. We now move to paragraph 5. So in relation to agenda item 2, which was the working modalities and updated timeline, the IGWG considered and adopted with amendments its timeline and deliverables. So that includes, for example, the upcoming meetings and the timings that have been agreed. And we also discussed working modalities and continue to appreciate the input of relevant stakeholders who we see with us, and we do very much indeed appreciate. If I see no objection, we will green paragraph 5. Oh, South Africa, please.
Thank you, Co-Chair. I just want to raise one issue, Chair, which I think it is in relation to the report from the last IGWG. There was a mandate for the Bureau and the IGWG to do certain things in the last report, which the informals were held based on that mandate. So I'm not so sure whether what I'm reading here encompasses what we have done. We invested 2 weeks in the informals. So we are of the recommendation that that time must be recorded, because it's the time that we have invested as countries, it's the time that we have invested and we've done work, and the report was reported in the meeting here. I'm not sure if I'm just pulling it too far, but this is how we feel as a delegation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, South Africa. I'm thinking on my feet here, but I think you could be saying, because given agenda item 3, which is the next paragraph on the PABS annex text, all the informals were with regards to that text. I wonder if we could say regarding agenda item 3, brackets draft PABS annex text, comma, and building on the work of informals in advance of IGWG 7, the meeting continued negotiations. Would that be satisfactory to recognise? I should put on the record the work of you and other co-facilitators who did an awful lot for those informals, South Africa. Would that be acceptable?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. I guess, Chair, it depends what value you put in what has been done. If it's just a sentence, you are happy with that, it's how you value it. But we've invested 7 days of our time, of our days, and that is a serious investment. We feel it has to be recorded fully in the report of this organization, of this body. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, I think so. We could say, and building on the extensive work, I think, and appreciating and building on the extensive work of informals in advance of IGWG 7. Once again, this is me drafting as I speak, but I think but we absolutely, I know the appreciation, South Africa, that was expressed for all who were involved in the informals. There is no doubt that is a very factual statement of what everybody has appreciated over these 2 weeks. So can I just, South Africa, are you happy, please, with that change?
Chair, I was checking with other co-facilitators because this is supposed to be a collective responsibility. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Well, what I suggest is I will just go through the rest of the paragraph slowly, and while I do that, of course, other co-facilitators can also, which we very much recognise their work, and which was greatly appreciated, as I have said, and you were right to refer to. So otherwise, just to go through the other points in this paragraph, we have references to the different sections that were discussed. We also have references to presentations we had from different delegations regarding federated and hybrid models, which referred to databases and physical materials and lab networks. And they were very much welcomed as contributing, as indeed all contributions are and have been over the last 2 weeks. We then have a factual statement on the next 8th meeting of the IGWG in September. And also a request to organise focused informal hybrid sessions, so focus being very important in terms of pathogens with pandemic potential and conceptual architecture with regards to the work we are doing. And then at the last line, we have a point about the importance of building conceptual understanding to advance the drafting process, which we're all working on, with dedicated time for informal discussion, led by co-facilitators as appropriate, which indeed to once again stress our appreciation of all those who co-facilitate. So with that, I think I'm just going to pause because there's other co-facilitators in the room, and just to check that there are no objections. I will give 10 seconds just to make sure people can properly read, and if there are no objections, I will gavel. So we can now agree paragraph 6 with thank you very much, South Africa, for enriching and really very correctly updating that paragraph. South Africa, please.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, would like to acknowledge not just the work of co-facilitators, but the work of member states as well. So therefore, we'll recommend that is the work done by both the delegates and co-facilitators during the informal meetings or informal sessions in advance of IGWG 7. So recognizing that there was a lot of discussions that came from the delegations as well. So we need to recognize them. Thank you.
So could we say, yeah, I mean, I will just make one suggestion. If there's any further questions, we can just pause for a couple of minutes. But what I would suggest is regarding agenda item 3, and appreciating and recognizing the input of member states and co-facilitators, and the extensive work of informals in advance of IGWG 7. What I suggest is we just pause for a minute or two, because I think we just need to check the grammar in what's become a very long sentence, and then we'll start again. Thank you very much to everybody. If you just please give us, well, literally 1 minute just to check the grammar of the sentence, and then we will reconvene.
I thought this was the pub's annex, green everything.
Right. Thanks so much, everybody, including to those online, and thank you for your patience. I think South Africa have proposed a separate paragraph referring to the informals. I think it was freebiz, you said, which has been put in the chat. What I'm going to propose is that if there's no objections, and I think it is very much a factual description of what was in the report and a recognition of the work that's been done, what I will suggest is, I'm afraid we can't green it yet. I would suggest that we insert this wording, agree this wording, and then we can remove the changes in the later paragraph. But I need to check there is consensus on this. So that the line says, the IGWG expressed appreciation for the work conducted during the informal hybrid meetings held from 22nd June to 3rd of July. I think factually it should be 22nd ND, sorry to be very specific here, if we're 2026, organised by the Bureau with the support of the Secretariat pursuant to paragraph 5 of document A, IGWG 64, focusing on access, benefit sharing contracts and core terms of reference for the WHO coordinated laboratory network and possible WHO PABS recognised sequence databases. I think factually everybody was very appreciative of all the work that was done during the informals, so I hope that wording would be acceptable to all. So what I'm going to propose is, unless there's anybody who objects, I think in the spirit of taking things forward, let's green that paragraph and we will remove the extra line that we just discussed. So I'll gavel that. Actually, could you first just remove the extra line from paragraph 6 so people are clear what we're doing? So paragraph 6 has gone back to the earlier version, and then if we go back up to freebiz, European Union, please.
Much, Co-Chair, sorry, you were very fast in changing the color, but can we have another look at the text, because we've...
Of course, so it's freebiz, so it's the one I just read out. The IGWG expressed appreciation through to databases.
So I think the last mention is not the one we generally use when we describe the databases. Is WHO recognized sequence database? There is no PABS there in the phrase we use.
Thank you. I will turn to the Secretariat to ensure we're completely consistent, because I think the suggestion for South Africa was very much to be consistent with the previous report. So I think I'm looking to my right just to check if we phrase it completely correctly.
Yeah, I think by omittal, the PABS was included in the report, but if in the annex, we always refer as WHO recognized sequence databases, and if there's an agreement, we could use that now as well.
Yeah, so I mean, I think given one wording was in the previous report, I mean, there is obviously a precedent, but I think there's also a justification of what you say, European Union. I think either is fine, but Brazil is about to add. Brazil, please.
Thank you, Co-Chair. Good afternoon. the language on the report on IGWG 5 is exactly the one on screen. So we'd like to keep that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think European Union, given this is the wording, you are completely correct, as the director said, with regards to the discussions, but I think given this is the wording we've all agreed in the previous report, I would propose we stick to consistency with the previous report. Brazil want to take the floor again.
Without the word sequence, WHO PABs recognize databases. It's what we used in the report. Thank you.
I'm just checking the report of IGWG 6, and it says WHO PABs recognize seconds databases.
So I think Brazil, for the same reason as I said to the European Union, I think we've said this in the previous report, so I think we should stick to consistency. But I appreciate very much the flexibility for the esteemed member for the European Union and to Brazil. Thank you so much. Right, so on that basis, I think we can now move back to the paragraph. So I'll gavel again, just to be clear it is gavelled, and then we move to paragraph 6, which I think I had actually gavelled already. But I will once again gavel again that we have agreed paragraph 6. And then paragraph 7, the IGWG adopted its report and the co-chairs closed the meeting, which of course we are about to do. So, shall I take it, we'll agree in that paragraph, and shall I take it the IGWG is ready to adopt the report in line with the comments raised, with thanks to South Africa, Brazil and European Union. I see no objection, so it is decided. This concludes our consideration of agenda item 6. And I'll pass to Ambassador Tovar to open agenda item 7.
Thank you very much, Matt, Co-Chair Matt. We will now proceed to item 7, that is the closure of the session. And before we proceed to the formal closure, I would now like to hand the floor to the Director General for closing remarks. Dr. Tradgers, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Co-Chair, Co-Chairs, Vice Chairs, members of IGWG, dear colleagues. As we close this 7th session, I want to begin not with the text, but with you. Every delegation in this room has given something to this week and last week. Time, patience, and at moments, real discomfort. Maybe as what I said yesterday, even tense environment. That's not a small thing. Negotiations that matter are never easy. And this one matters more than most. Of course, not all the gaps we came in with have closed, but some have. Not as you expected. At least there is a forward movement. And access and benefit sharing started this week feeling like two sides of an argument. I believe more of us now start to see them again as two halves of one promise. That shift matters, even where the text hasn't fully caught up to it yet. I will not pretend the remaining issues are small. Real gaps remain, and they deserve the same seriousness in the next session that they have received in this one. I would ask every delegation to use the time between now and IGWG 8 not to retreat into positions, but to consult, to test ideas informally, and to arrive at the next session ready to build rather than repeat, because we have seen many repetitions, as you know. So the rule of the game now is not just sharing your positions, but finding solutions. We're not negotiating an abstraction. we are negotiating the difference between a world that responds on the next pathogen in days and one that responds in months while people die waiting. Every provision we're debating, however technically it may sound in the room, has a face somewhere in the world that depends on us getting it right. To the co-facilitators, I think they're in the room, the Bureau and my colleague, members of the Secretariat, and every delegation that stayed engaged through the harder sessions this week and last week, thank you. You did not walk away from difficulty, and that's the only reason this process is still alive. We're not yet at the finish line, but we are, I believe, closer to it than we were a week ago. And closer still to remembering that the finish line is one we cross together or not at all. And yesterday, during the reception, I was very glad to hear from many members that closing it this year is possible. So let's continue to aim for that. And I look forward to welcoming you all to IGWG 8 and safe travels home, those who will travel home. And thank you for your commitment to this work. Thank you. And back
Thank you very much, Dr. Tedros, for these inspiring words. I think both Matt and myself would like to make some personal remarks, but I'd like to offer the floor for those that have maybe regional statements or individual statements. If there is any. Palestine, you have the floor.
شكرا السيدة الرئيس سعادة السفير السيد الرئيس المناوب فلسطين.
Thank you, co-chairs. DGU, Palestine thanks you for holding these negotiations and consultations. We would like to thank Mr. Tovar, Matthew, Viraj, you and the rest of the co-chairs greatly contributed to our work in an excellent manner. We took note of all the exchanges between the countries with the participation of the Secretariat and the legal advisor. We remain convinced that there is hope. Without hope, we will not be able to go forward. We need to come back to our starting point where we saw that people were lamenting their dead throughout the world during the COVID-19 pandemic. It was at that point in time when the international community decided that we needed to overcome the mistakes of the past and save lives. We should not forget the role of public health institutions in pandemics. That's our major goal. We don't deny the importance of laboratories either, because it is there that research is initiated. Unfortunately, we've opened up the door to commercial interests and we've got further and further away from our major aim and goal. Chair, I think we've got away from our major objective, which is to adopt an annex which will allow us to save lives during pandemics, allowing us to have access to pathogens and to share benefits. We need to come to a solution. I think there are probably several solutions open to us within these negotiations. We stand ready to listen to everybody, to the various positions. But I think that we need to come back to human diplomacy above all. We need to start our work on a text in the interests of humanity above all, for the benefit of public health. We need to place the human being at the center of our negotiations. We stand ready to collaborate, to listen to all of the different positions, and we do truly hope that we will be able to reach a fair outcome for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Malaysia, please.
Thank you, Co-Chair. And we wish to thank to Director General, Dr. Tedros, for his remarks and continued leadership in advancing this important process. And I have the honor to speak on behalf of a group of member states from the Western Pacific region, including Australia, Brunei Darussalam, China, Indonesia, Japan, Malaysia, Philippines, Republic of Korea, and Singapore. We reaffirm our commitment to achieving a practical, inclusive, and implementable outcome through this process. We thank the Bureau, co-facilitators, and Secretariat for their efforts in supporting discussions during IGWG 7. This session has helped member states deepen their understanding of a number of the concepts and proposals under discussion, including new proposals surfaced for consideration. At the same time, differences in views remain on important elements of the systems. As we move to the next phase of our work, we believe our collective focus should increasingly be on supporting conceptual convergence and then on translating emerging areas of understanding into clear and workable negotiating texts. This will require focus, discussions, effective use of intersessional time, and working modalities that support consistent progress. In a constructive spirit, we would like to offer several observations regarding working modalities. First, as much clarity as possible regarding future work plans, sequencing of topics, and scheduling would assist member states in preparing effectively and consulting with capitals. Second, where possible, streamlining documentations and circulating well in advance of discussions will support meaningful preparation and engagement. Third, we have found both formal and informal discussions valuable in different ways. Looking ahead, we encourage continued efforts to ensure discussions remain focused, constructive, and transparent, that areas of understanding and convergence emerging from informals and other collaborative work are clearly reflected back into the formal process. And fourth, we welcome recent efforts to make greater use of visual tools and practical illustration to support a shared understanding of the system concept under discussion. Further work in this area could assist member states in understanding the practical implication of different approaches, identifying common ground and supporting convergence. Looking ahead, we encourage the best possible use of the intersessional period to continue technical exchange, deepen understanding key concepts, and support progress between formal sessions, while ensuring member states have sufficient opportunity to consult domestically, prepare for future negotiations. As a region that includes member states with diverse perspectives, capacities, circumstances, we continue to attach great importance to broad participation and an inclusive process. Many delegations continue to face significant demands in supporting frequent meetings in Geneva, including increasing travel costs and the practical challenges associated with sustained participation. We therefore see value in working modalities that make the best use of both formal sessions and intersessional engagement, while supporting broad and effective participation by all member states. We remain committed to working with all member states toward a timely conclusion of the PAPS Annex. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I invite all of those that are going to make interventions to stick to the time assigned to you. Sri Lanka, please.
Thank you, Co-Chair. I have the honor to deliver this statement on behalf of the WHO Southeast Asia region. At the outset, we express our sincere appreciation to you, the Bureau, the WHO Secretariat, the co-facilitators, and all colleagues for their tireless efforts in guiding our work over the past 2 weeks. Our discussions have been constructive and substantive. While differences remain, this session has brought greater clarity to the areas of convergence and divergence. We have also witnessed a genuine willingness from all delegations to engage in good faith and to search for practical landing zones on the outcoming issues. As we move forward, it is important that our work remains firmly anchored in both the letter and the spirit of Article 12 of the Pandemic Agreement. This will help avoid conceptual misunderstandings and ensure that the PAPS Annex fully implements the mandate agreed by member states. In particular, we underscore the importance of preserving the fundamental linkages between access and benefit sharing as the cornerstone of the PAPS system. A credible and effective framework must provide legal certainty, traceability, transparency, and accountability through clear and operational provisions governing the implementation of benefit sharing obligations. We also seek a PAPS system that enables the safe, transparent, accountable, and traceable sharing of PAPS materials and PAPS sequence information. As we move ahead, the South Asian region would like to emphasize the following points. First, we see value in the drafting groups under the guidance of the Bureau to streamline and define the negotiation text, particularly for those elements where there is enough conceptual convergence. Second, reaching out to researchers, technical experts, and practitioners working on the ground as appropriate can enrich our collective understanding of the specific technical and operational issues identified by the IGWG. This should be done while preserving the member state-led nature of this process. And third, we encourage focused informal discussions among member states to help bridge conceptual gaps, foster mutual understanding, and identify potential areas of convergence. These informals should be focused, targeted, and outcome-driven, which would help in forwarding the discussion in a formal sessions in a meaningful way. Co-Chair, achieving an equitable and effective PAPS system remains an important objective and will require continued political will, sustained momentum, and a shared commitment to deliver on Article 12 of the Pandemic Agreement. Our region remains fully committed to working constructively with all member states. You can count on our full support for the Bureau's leadership and efforts to steer this process towards a balanced, equitable, and implementable outcome to cater the requirement of Article 12. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Barbados, please.
Thank you, Co-Chair. I have the honor to deliver this statement on behalf of Barbados, the Bahamas, Guyana, and Jamaica. Having carefully observed the discussions over the past 2 weeks, we wish to reaffirm our conviction that consensus with the Article 12 of the Pandemic Agreement, pathogen access and benefit sharing must remain inseparable and implemented on equal footing. Neither pillar can be subordinate to the other if this instrument is to be achieved its objective by promoting equity, strengthening global health security, and fostering trust amongst member parties. Our position is informed not only by principle, but also by experience. During the COVID-19 pandemic, our member states fulfilled their global responsibilities by contributing to surveillance efforts and sharing pathogen information. Yet, when vaccines, therapeutics, diagnostics, and other pandemic-related health products became available, many of our small island development states found themselves at the back of the queue. Not because the need was any less, but because our small populations limited purchasing power and lack of market influence. The experience demonstrated that market forces and voluntary arrangement alone did not deliver equitable outcome. If the pandemic agreement is to restore confidence in the multilateral system, the PATS mechanism must provide fair, predictable, transparent, timely, and legally binding benefit sharing for all countries, including small island developing states. In this regard, we welcome the various proposals presented during this IGWG and thank the Secretariat, co-chairs, vice-chairs, co-facilitators, and delegations for their efforts in identifying practical landing zones. We recognize the common objective of establishing a WHO coordinated system that strengthens transparency, accountability, traceability, and scientific collaboration whilst respecting national sovereignty. Whilst these proposals presented constructive progress, further work is needed to ensure that the final system fully delivers on the promise of Article 12. In particular, greater clarity is needed on what is minimum benefit sharing obligations, monitoring and compliance mechanisms, and legally binding guarantees to ensure the fair, timely, predictable, and equitable delivery of vaccines, therapeutics, diagnostics, technological transfer, scientific knowledge, and capacity building support. We also encourage that the unique realities and capacity constraints of small island developing states must be explicitly reflected in the operational design of the system. Co-chair, sustaining trust must remain at the heart of the PAPS systems. States will continue to share pathogens rapidly and transparently only if they have confidence that doing so will result in fair and equitable access to the benefits derived from these shared resources. Trust is built through reciprocity, and reciprocity requires that pathogen access and benefit sharing remains equal and mutually obligatory. As I close, as such, we stand ready to engage constructively in the spirit of mutual compromise to achieve a consensus outcome that is operationally feasible, scientifically robust, and firmly grounded in equity. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Algeria, please.
Thank you, co-chairs. Algeria has the honor to speak on behalf of the Africa Group plus Egypt, Somalia, and Sudan. The Africa Group Plus extends its sincere appreciation to the co-chairs for their stewardship, to the Bureau and the Secretariat for their tireless work over these 2 weeks, to the interpreters and to all regional groups and delegations for the constructive spirit in which they have engaged. This session has clarified areas of convergence and confirmed that important differences remain. Our next phase of work should be guided by 3 priorities. First, on the way forward, it's essential to unlock the remaining conceptual differences before further drafting of the PAPS Annex. Future conceptual and textual proposals must remain firmly anchored in the principles and objectives of Article 12 and of the pandemic agreement as a whole. Second, on the substantive issues, further work is needed on the treatment of derivatives, including synthetic products developed from pathogen sequence information shared through the PAPS system, and on intellectual property to ensure that benefit sharing obligations cannot be circumvented through downstream innovation. Provider countries of biological materials and pathogen sequence information must receive fair, equitable, predictable, and tangible benefits consistent with Article 12. Implementation must be accompanied by adequate financial, technical, and capacity building support for developing countries, particularly for national laboratories and for laboratories participating in the WHO Coordinated Laboratory Network. Based on the discussions held during this session and in line with Article 12 of the Pandemic Agreement, the African Group Plus is firmly of the view that the federated model provides the most robust foundation for the future PAPS system, an architecture built around sovereign national and regional nodes, interconnected through a WHO-hosted metadata index and catalog with a unique, persistent identifier ensuring end-to-end traceability of biological materials and pathogen sequence information, like reflects the principles of sovereignty, truth, traceability, and equity. It conditions access on binding benefit sharing commitment at very point of use and treats digital sequence information and physical materials with parity. In our view, this offers a more balanced and sustainable approach than models that rely on centralized infrastructures, dilute access conditionalities, or leave open parallel channels that may perpetuate the status quo that failed during COVID. Third, on the organization of our future work, the African Group Plus considers that the next session should advance our collective work on the PAPS Annex in a structured and inclusive manner, while recognizing the distinct governance arrangement under the Pandemic Agreement and the amended international health regulations, particularly with regard to the coordinating financial mechanism. We should avoid being overly prescriptive regarding future confidence of the parties' decisions on its operationalization. Capitals across the African region are continuing their consultation on the substantive matters raised during this session, including on the design features that will give practical effect to the federated model. We hope to return with firm positions and concrete textual proposals that can advance our collective progress toward the conclusion of the PAPS Annex. To facilitate these ongoing consultations, we encourage the co-chairs and secretariat to communicate any changes to the program of work sufficiently in advance for delegations to consult their capitals. Co-chairs, the African Group Plus remain fully committed to working constructively with all delegations to achieve a balanced, operational and equitable PAPS Annex that faithfully reflects the objectives of the pandemic agreement. Through continued dialogue, we can deliver a PAPS system that upholds equity, solidarity and fair and equitable benefit sharing for all member states. Finally, as this session comes to a close, we would like to extend our best wish to colleagues who will be leaving Geneva. We thank them for their dedication, professionalism and collegiality and wish them every success in their future endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Jamaica, please.
On behalf of the government and people of Jamaica, I take this opportunity to thank the co-chairs and vice chairs of the IGWG Bureau for your leadership and tenacity during these many days of arduous deliberations. Special commendations are to be extended to the technical members of the Secretariat for your expertise and sterling work in producing guiding documents that have served as the basis of our discussions over these 2 weeks. We must also thank the Director General for his sobering and thought-provoking remarks yesterday and moments ago, which we hope has encouraged each delegation to never lose sight of the mission at hand. We have lots of work ahead of us, but Jamaica remains committed to the process. We align with the statement delivered by Barbados on behalf of CARICOM. As we look ahead to IGWG 8, we endorse the call for all of us to settle and agree to the conceptual and policy architecture that will bring into operation the PAB system. Let us urgently but thoughtfully agree on all outstanding use of terms, access and benefit sharing models and contract documents that will safeguard the integrity of the system while promoting transparency and accountability. This must be a priority from the intersessional period going into IGWG 8. Jamaica will lend its support to all feasible proposals that bring us closer to the goal of developing a legal instrument that is fit for purpose, takes into account the realities of all countries, including small island developing states, and achieves the mandate of Article 12 of the Pandemic Agreement. Colleagues, let us keep engaging and ensure that humanity, global health, and security remain at the forefront of our future deliberations. While we have heard many diverse perspectives and positions over the last several days, we firmly believe that a balanced and implementable PABS Annex, even if it does not fully satisfy every negotiating position, is far preferably to no agreement. Achieving a meaningful and equitable instrument will require compromise from all parties to ensure that both the pandemic agreement and the annex serve the collective interests of all countries. Thank you.
Thank you. Ethiopia, please.
Thank you, Co-Chair. Ethiopia aligns with the Africa Regional Statement delivered by Algeria and wishes to sincerely thank the IGWG Bureau, the Director General, and the Secretariat, all supporting team and the entire IGWG delegation for your dedication and hard work. Although the IGWG did not progress with text as we intended, the discussions in the room contributed to a better understanding of the outstanding issues and the need to find creative solutions that address equity, clarity, accountability, and legal certainty. We call for focused discussions to resolve the conceptual differences and deliver on the promise of the pandemic agreement that changes the status quo. As we prepare for the work ahead, including the high-level political declaration on pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response, let us remain resolute and constructive. Finally, I would like to reiterate once again that Ethiopia will continue to contribute to the successful conclusion of the meaningful PABS Annex. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The United Republic of Tanzania, please.
Thank you, Chair. The United Republic of Tanzania aligns with a statement delivered by Algeria on behalf of the Africa Region Plus. We extend our sincere appreciation to you, Chair, the Bureau, the Secretariat, and especially to the Director General for reminding us that the success of this agreement will be a win for all. In pandemic preparedness, there is no us and them. Our health security is shared. History reminds us that the revision of the international health regulations began in 1990s, but was concluded in 2005, following the outbreak of H5N1. Likewise, the pandemic agreement process was launched at the height of COVID-19, when the world experienced unprecedented loss and equity. Let us not wait another pandemic to remind us why we started this journey. As we conclude this session, Tanzania wishes to express its heartfelt appreciation to Co-Chair Matt Harper, Vice Chair Madeline and Dr. Hanan, and other colleagues who are living in Geneva. Your leadership, dedication, and commitment have strengthened this process, and we wish you every success in your future. Chair, the best time to conclude this negotiation may have been yesterday. The next best time is now. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much. The European Union, please.
Thank you very much, Co-Chair. No, just we wish to take this opportunity to once more thank Co-Chair Matt and Vice Chair Madeleine and Dr. Annan for their efforts and contribution to the process. The European Union and its member states are very grateful to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think all of us want to add, and we recognize those acknowledgements. But at this stage, I'd like to offer the floor to Madeleine Hayward, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ambassador Tova. Thank you, Matt, and thank you, colleagues, for the acknowledgement. Indeed, I will soon be finishing my term at the Australian mission after having been extended at length, as some of you know, and so I need to step down from the Bureau before the next IGWG. It's with a heavy heart. I had very much wanted to see the annex finalized and adopted before leaving the IGWG to continue its work towards the first COP, but I will continue to follow your progress and do whatever I can to support you, and I know that with all the minds and hearts in this room working together, you can get this done. There's maybe just two things I want to say while I'm still in my capacity as Vice Chair and as a former negotiator. First is to thank you, all of you, for the privilege of working with you and for your trust in me. And the second is to ask something of you. I know there aren't many left now here who were in this room, masked and distanced when we started this process, but wherever you were at that moment, you were probably wearing a mask, you were probably separated from people you love, some of you had lost someone you loved. Every one of us knows why we're here and how important it is to complete the pandemic agreement and get it into force. We've been working on this for 5 years for the people we serve, for the people we love. And I know it's been 5 years because the 6-month-old baby I had when I led the negotiations to begin this process is now 5.5. When we have breakthroughs, it's because we understand each other. So what I wanted to ask you is to please talk to each other, listen to each other, and please ask yourself, and ask yourself often because this process is always evolving, what more can I be doing towards a common understanding in this room? To find common ground, who can I reach out to? What conversations can I be initiating? It's a heavy responsibility that you have, and I know that because it's been my responsibility too, but it's too important not to give it everything that you can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair Madeleine, for speaking with your heart also. I want to see first if any of the Vice Chairs would like to take the floor, and then offer the floor to Co-Chair Matt, please.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Tovar, and I think it's very hard to follow that, Madeleine. I think for reasons outlined when I spoke last week, I'm having to stand down as co-chair, but I just want to be really clear, as I was then, that my personal commitment to this process remains as strong as ever, as does the UK's. I think I remember first joining the special session remotely and being part of this process ever since, and working so closely with all of you on the pandemic agreement and now on PABS, and we are absolutely going to work together to get this done. I've so appreciated working with all of you in this role as co-chair. It's been a great privilege, and I look forward to continuing to work with you, although in a different way. I think I just wanted to also say a massive thank you to my fellow Bureau members for our really close joint working over the last year. It's been a great privilege to work with all of you. I would like to also thank the Director General, Dr. Chikwe and Nadret, and all of the Secretariat team for all your work and all your support as well over the last year. And also like to thank all those member states, particularly for those who always break the ice and are the first to speak. You know, I don't like silence. But also for all the work you've done just tirelessly inside and outside the room, and your encouragement. And it's your work on this that has made a difference so far, and it's your work on this that will get this done. I think just a few points just to sort of finish. And I think, firstly, the need for this, as Madeleine says, is as great as ever. Ebola hantavirus show that by working together, it is absolutely critical. And this process is as needed as ever so that we can bring the pandemic agreement into reality. Secondly, I'm so impressed with the dedication and the expertise in this room. It's been so clear throughout, and I know it will remain clear going forward. Thirdly, I do think, as different delegations have said, these 2 weeks have built knowledge and common understanding on really complex issues. That's needed, I think, as Barbados said, to be operational, scientifically robust, to deliver equity. And so it's really important we've had those discussions. But fourthly, we have to recognise differences remain. Otherwise, we would have greened all the text already. And we need to be tirelessly looking, what is the solution? What are the ways that we can bring our proposals together and absolutely bring this PABS agreement to finalisation as soon as we can? So it's been a great privilege to work with you in this role. I will still be working really closely with you going forward and getting to the final result and outcome that we all want of an agreed annex. So thank you so much, everybody, and I'll pass back to you, Ambassador Tovar.
Thank you very much. Before we proceed to the formal closure, I want to add my voice of thanks. First, I'd like to thank the co-facilitators that have worked not only before IGWG, long before IGWG 7, during IGWG 7. And I think it's through these commitment to finding a way. Usually these people in other negotiations, these delegates are called friends of the Bureau. I don't think this Bureau has any enemies, so I think all of you should be friends of the Bureau, mind you. But some of you have taken the responsibility to really work towards facilitating, finding not only convergence for conceptual differences, but also real text. So thank you very much. Among these co-facilitators, I want to acknowledge César from France, whom we knew as a Sherpa to Anne-Claire Amprou in the Bureau. So we know him very well from inside the Bureau as a delegate and also as a co-facilitator. César is not going to be following directly our negotiations, so wish him all the best. Together with Maki from Japan. Maki, I think your knowledge as a doctor is invaluable, and also I think you turn out to be a very good negotiator. I hope you take that as a compliment, because I think scientists, don't like to be associated with anything that is not really completely scientific, but I think you excelled in adding the voice of your country, but also of those that want also to have this PABS Annex as a meaningful contribution to history. To Joyce, who is also living from Canada, as anything that you find that is outstanding in Article 18 and elsewhere in the agreement, you can say that it's Joyce and Fiza from Malaysia's work. Anything that's bad, I can take responsibility. So Joyce, thank you very much. All the best to you too. and also Alenta from Ethiopia. So many ways we could thank her for finding language and ways. She is coming as we speak. To all of you, thank you. Thank you very much, Alenta. I want also, DG, through you, to thank your team, not only the Secretariat, but anyone, from the interpreters, from those people that organize the meetings. There's a lot. Sometimes we don't realize there's a lot going on to make the hybrid system work. And the legal advisors, Nedret and her team, all of those members of the Secretariat, we owe them a lot. And this IGWG 7, we made them work like maybe never before. So big thank you to all of you, to the interpreters as well. And obviously, we cannot leave this room without acknowledging once again the work of Vice Chair Madeleine Hayward. She's one of the few veterans. I'd like to say that because, in a good way, a veteran that she has seen everything, she knows the nuances of the positions. So there's no, let's say, hiding that some issues are very difficult to go through. Thank you very much, Madeleine. Your experience was not only useful for us, but inspiring in many ways as a member of the Bureau and also before as a delegate. Dr. Hanan, with her experience as former health minister during COVID in her country, but also chair of the executive body, invaluable experience, and we wish her all the best in her future endeavors. And a big thank you to you, Dr. Hanan. And Matt, I think we haven't really realized what it will be without you as co-chair. I'm sure that there will be somebody that will try to replace your talent as a negotiator before and now as a co-chair. But this time I want to recognize the father that you are, the husband, but also the colleague and friend. So all the best to you. Thank you very much for putting health and public health and public policy in health ahead of anything, and being able also to continue with your personal mission. We very much value that ability that you have. You are, beyond multitasker, and we know because you work towards common good, as Mexico likes to remind us, and you are a big champion of common good. Thank you very much, and all the best to you as well. Round of applause to you, especially. So one note about myself, because I am leaving, this is my last working day in Geneva, but I will keep my hat as co-chair if the region allows me. So while I merit the trust of the Americas, I want to see this until the end. So I will be fully dedicated to being co-chair of this, even if I return to Brasilia in a couple of days. And I thank my region for the trust, but also I will be liaising with you directly as I come already in September for IGWG 8, so there shouldn't be any discontinuity. But obviously, after 5 years in Geneva, you always have the sentiment of losing a bet to the possibility of engaging with the heads of mission, as Ambassador Dlamini will confirm. But in my view, I had that from my president himself. He came here for the G7. He and Dr. Tedros wrote a very specific letter to the G7 and G20 and BRICS. And I thank Dr. Tedros for that. And I asked him if he would he said, no change, go on. It's important, and my Minister of Health also asking me. So thank you for the trust, Americas, and thank you all for also working together here as we proceed and honor the extension that we granted by the World Health Assembly. So no further ado, I now have the honor to close the 7th meeting of the Intergovernmental Working Group on the WHO Pandemic Agreement. Wishing you all the best, safe travels for those who return home, and see you soon. Thank you very much.